Hi everyone, welcome back to English with Emma. In this video, you'll learn all about the past perfect simple tense. You'll learn the structure and how and when we use the tense. And we'll also look at the third conditional because that also uses the past perfect. And we'll look at some examples of wish and if only. So let's get started. Past perfect simple. We form the past perfect simple with had plus verb 3. Verb 3 is the past participle. So if go is the infinitive and went is the past simple, then gone is the past participle. Do is the infinitive, did is the past simple, done is the past participle. Let's have a more detailed look at the structure, and we'll start with positive phrases. So in the past perfect simple, in positive phrases, we take the subject plus had plus verb 3. I had forgotten his birthday. We had left our books at home. They had eaten all the food. You had finished the exercise. He had spoken to her. She had broken her mobile phone. It had escaped from the zoo. Now let's look at the negatives. We form the negative in the past perfect simple with the subject plus had not, which can be contracted to hadn't, and verb 3. I hadn't forgotten his birthday. We hadn't left our books at home. They hadn't eaten all the food. You hadn't finished the exercise. He hadn't spoken to her. She hadn't broken her mobile phone. It hadn't escaped from the zoo. Now let's look at questions. So for the questions we start with had and then the subject and then verb 3. Had I forgotten his birthday? Had we left our books at home? Had they eaten all the food? Had you finished the exercise? Had he spoken to her? Had she broken her mobile phone? Had it escaped from the zoo? And now let's look at the short answers. So for positive short answers, yes, I had. Yes, we had. Yes, they had. Yes, you had. Yes, he had. Yes, she had. Yes, it had. And for the negatives, we use had not, which you can contract to hadn't. And it's much more natural to use the contraction. No, I hadn't. No, we hadn't. No, they hadn't. No, you hadn't. No, he hadn't. No, she hadn't. No, it hadn't. When do we use the past perfect simple? We use the past perfect simple to show that an action happened before another finished past action. So with the past perfect simple, there's always more than one completed past action. And we use the past perfect for the first action and the past simple for the second action. Now, it's not always necessary to use the past perfect when you have more than one finished past action. It depends on the order in which they appear in the sentence. Sometimes it's clear which action happened first without having to use the past perfect. Let's see some examples. You can also use just and already with the past perfect simple. So here we've got two finished past actions. The first action, the film started, and then the second action, I arrived. The film started and then I arrived. We use the past simple for the first action and the past simple for the second action. In this phrase, it's clear which action happened first because we use then. First the film started and then second I arrived. So we don't need to use the past perfect simple here. But if we start the phrase with the second action, like this, I arrived late and the film had started. So we use the past simple for the second action and the past perfect for the first action. Now we use the past perfect here to show that although this action appears second in the phrase, that it actually happened first. And we can say a similar thing, we can use the adverb already. I arrived late and the film had already started. Use already when an action happens a bit sooner than we might expect. And we could also use just. I arrived late and the film had just started. In this case, notice how the actions happen closer together. So again, already, one action started before the other, and with just, the first action happened a very short time before the second action. So look at this example. Again, we have two finished past actions. The first action is that my colleagues went home, and then second, I left the office. So we can say in the order that it happened, my colleagues went home and then I left the office. And we use the past simple for the first action and the past simple for the second action. But if we want to start the phrase with the second action, like this, I left the office after my colleagues had gone home. Then we use the past simple for the second action and the past perfect for the first action, and in this way the past perfect shows us that although the action appears later in the phrase, that it actually happened first. Two more finished past actions. I borrowed a book from my friend, and then later my friend asked me, "Did you finish it?" So the first action is that I borrowed the book, and then the second action, my friend asked me if I finished it. I borrowed my friend's book. She asked me. So the past simple for the first action and the past simple for the second action, because in this phrase the actions appear in the order that they happened. My friend asked me if I had finished the book. Here we use the past simple for the second action, and we use the past perfect for the first action because it appears second in the phrase. Another example. The train left was the first action, and then after that, the second action, I arrived. So we can talk about these events in the order that they happened. The train left before I arrived at the station, and we use the past simple for the first action and the past simple for the second action. Or we can start the phrase with the second action. When I arrived at the station, the train had left. And in this case, because we've changed the order in the sentence, then we have to use the past simple for the second action and the past perfect to indicate that the next action actually happened first. We can also use the past perfect simple to give a reason for a past action or state. So, I didn't have dinner. This is my reason, the thing that happened. And then the result of that is that I went to bed hungry. I didn't have dinner, so I went to bed hungry. If we speak about the two things in order, the reason followed by the result, then we use the past simple for the reason and the past simple for the result. But if we want to talk about the result first, I went to bed hungry because I hadn't had any dinner. Then we use the past simple for the result and the past perfect for the reason. And we use the past perfect here to show that although it happens later in the phrase, it actually happened before. I lost my phone. So this is what happened. This is my reason. And the result of that is that I bought a new one. I lost my old phone, so I bought a new one. We use the past simple for the reason and the past simple for the result. And we use the past simple for both because we're talking about them in the order that they happened. But if we want to speak about the result first, I bought a new phone because I had lost my old one. We use the past simple for the result and the past perfect to indicate that what comes next was the reason for the result and actually happened before. I didn't study. Here's my reason. And then the result, I failed my exam. I didn't study enough, so I failed my exam. Past simple for the reason, past simple for the result, because we're speaking about them in the order that they happened. I failed my exam because I hadn't studied enough. Past simple for the result, but we have to use the past perfect to show that what comes next is the reason and actually occurred before the result, although it appears later in the phrase. He overslept. That's the reason. And what happened? The result is that he missed the bus. He overslept, so he missed the bus. We use the past simple for the reason and the past simple for the result. He missed the bus because he had overslept. Here we use the past simple for the result, and we have to use the past perfect to show that what comes next in the phrase is the reason, and actually happened first. We also use the past perfect simple to say that an action was completed before a specific past time. And we often use by, or by the time, or by the age of. Let's see some examples of this. So here we have a specific time in the past. In this case, she turned 25. This is a specific moment in the past. And now we want to talk about what action or actions were completed before this point. So, before she turned 25, she wrote 2 books. She wrote 2 books before she turned 25. Here, the order of events is clear, and we use the past simple and then the point in time. But if we start with the point in time, by the age of 25, she'd written 2 books. Here we use the past perfect to show that the action of writing 2 books actually happened before the age of 25. Here our specific past time is started school. So what happened before that? Learned to read. I learned to read before I started school. And we use the past simple because the order of events is clear because we use the word before. And then we have our point in time, I started school. Let's start with the point in time. By the time I started school, I had learned to read, and we use the past perfect here to show that this action happened before that. 9 a.m. What happened before 9 a.m.? I did all the housework. I did all the housework before 9 a.m. Here we use the past simple because it's clear the order of events. Or we can say, by 9 a.m. I had done all the housework. So we start with the point in time and then we follow it with the past perfect tense. And we often use this structure when something is surprising or impressive. So I wouldn't normally get all the housework done before 9 a.m. It's very early to finish all the housework. So the past perfect is used to give emphasis to the fact that a lot was achieved before a specific past time. We also use the past perfect simple with never before to say that it was the first time an action had been done. Now, this is something that often appears if you're doing one of the Cambridge Suite exams, like the B2 or the C1 exam. Then you might find this in the part 4 of use of English, the transformations. So this is definitely a useful thing to study. Let's see, so we have our point in time. The first time I played tennis. And before that, I never played tennis. So in this case, the specific point refers to the first time that an action was done. I wasn't very good at tennis because I had never played before. It was the first time. We use the past simple to talk about what happened in the past, the fact that I wasn't very good at tennis. Why not? Because before that, I had never played before. And we use the past perfect to indicate that the action had not been done before that specific point in time. Let's take another first. The first time she flew. So before that, she had never flown. She was nervous about the flight because she had never flown before. It was the first time. And we use the past simple to talk about how she felt the first time she did that activity, and the past perfect to explain that she had not done that activity before. Another first. The first time they went to London. So before that, they had never been to London. So they used a map because they had never been to London before. It was the first time. So we use the past simple to talk about what happened on that first time, and the past perfect to explain that the action had not been done before that point. We also use the past perfect simple to express dissatisfaction with the past, and we use the third conditional, or wish, or if only. So let's look a little bit at the third conditional. In the if clause, we use if plus the past perfect, and in the main clause, would or would not for the negative, have plus the past participle. Now, we have a real situation. I ate too much and then I felt sick. This is the reality, and it's not a very good reality. So we imagine or dream an unreal situation, which we would prefer over the real one. If I hadn't eaten so much, I wouldn't have felt sick. So the third conditional is used for the unreal past. It's the past that we wish was reality, but unfortunately it isn't. And we use the past perfect in the if clause. So let's look at some more examples. We've got our real situation. 2 finished past actions. I didn't study and I didn't pass. I didn't study enough, so I didn't pass the test. I'm not very happy with this reality, so I'm imagining a different reality, which is the opposite. I studied enough and I passed. If I had studied enough, I would have passed the test. So this is the reality that I'm dreaming about, that I wish had happened, but unfortunately, it's not real. So I have another one. Didn't set my alarm, woke up late. I didn't set my alarm, so I woke up late. So I'm imagining now a different reality where I set my alarm and I woke up on time. If I had set my alarm, I would have woken up on time. In reality, drove to work, had an accident. So we've got 2 finished past actions. Pretty negative situation. She drove to work and she had an accident. So this is not a nice past. So we're imagining a different past where she didn't drive to work and she didn't have an accident. If she hadn't driven to work, she wouldn't have had an accident. Let's have another one. Stole the money, went to prison. They stole the money, so they went to prison. Pretty unhappy situation, this. No one wants to be in prison. So, imagining a different reality now. They didn't steal the money, and they didn't go to prison. If they hadn't stolen the money, they wouldn't have gone to prison. Didn't know, didn't help. We didn't know about the problem, so we didn't help solve it. And in the imaginary or unreal situation, we knew and we helped. If we had known about the problem, we would have helped solve it. So the third conditional we're using to express an unreal past, a past that didn't happen, but that generally we wish had happened. Now we can also use if only or wish, and these are just a stronger form of if. So it just gives more emphasis. Let's see, if only I had studied more, I might have passed the exam. And we use if only to indicate a really strong desire here. I wish I had got up earlier. I wouldn't have missed the bus. Unfortunately, I didn't get up earlier and I did miss the bus, but I wish I had got up earlier. If only we hadn't wasted so much time. we would have been able to finish the work. But we did waste time and we were not able to finish the work. I wish I'd bought that dress. I could have worn it to the concert. But, the reality is that I didn't buy the dress, and so I couldn't wear it to the concert. Okay. Thanks for watching, guys. I hope you found that useful, and if you did, then please give it a big thumbs up. And if you'd like to see more, then subscribe to the channel. Have a great day. I'll see you next time. Bye.